Hello, friends. My name is Jose Luis. This time I am going to show you how to make these modern armchairs. Very nice and easy to make. I also have to emphasize that they are very comfortable. I am going to leave the measurements in the highlighted comment. I am also going to leave up here the label of this coffee table if you like the idea, which is also very easy to make and nice that makes the game. So I hope you like it and let's get to work. We start by marking the front legs. We mark them at 25 centimeters. We take the square and mark it in the center. We take the 12 centimeters crossbar and increase it 3 millimeters to make the box bigger. We mark the center, and we mark it with the square. Now we mark 1.3 centimeters on each side. We are going to make a box 2.6 centimeters thick, which would be 26 centimeters. There we mark it at 0.7 centimeters and 0.7 centimeters. We mark it again with the square, and there we mark the outside line 0.7 also, because we are going to make a hole with the 1.4 centimeter drill bit, and we mark it with the punch, because we are going to use a 3-point bit, so the hole does not run. We always fix it with a square to place it vertically. We make the 4 holes. I place a bottom strip so that nothing splinters. Now with the jigsaw we open the box very slowly, because it is 2 inches, is 4.3 centimeters. Slowly leaving the line. We cut the other side and we also clean this end. We turn and mark it with the square again. We can rectify it with a chisel a little bit because sometimes the saw is inclined a little bit, or we can also rectify it with the same jigsaw slowly. The corners are a little bit rounded. Now we mark 6 centimeters of the 2 sides and 12 centimeters. You have to be found as a little house. Now we mark it at 5 centimeters and 2.3 centimeters. Five centimeters and 2.3 centimeters, and we also punch it with the punch. We lift it, we place the ribbon underneath, and we pierce it with the wick 3-point of 14 centimeters. Well, we mark it with the ruler, to be able to cut it with the jigsaw. We cut with the jigsaw very slowly, a little bit backwards and a little bit forwards. And we turn it, and we mark it again. And there we rectify it with the jigsaw. It's better because the veins are sharp. I'm going to use a router to make a quarter cane molding. Just a small one to round the eyelet. And here we mark the same. 25 and 12 centimeters from the crossbar down, plus 3 millimeters, and we do the same work that we had done on the front leg, at the same height, everything exactly the same. We mark all the same, here that would be 0.7, we stipple it. 0.7 would be the center of the 1.4 wick. We mark 6 centimeters, and there we make 2.3 centimeters on each side, 2.3 centimeters, and we stipple them and we pierce them with the wick 3 point of 1.4 centimeters, and we mark it with the ruler. And now we do the same work, and we cut it. To this that would be the cross pieces, we are going to mark the tenon. Would be 9.5 centimeters. A longer one would have the dowel at both ends, and the shorter one only on one side. We mark the faces with the square. Now we mark the center, which would be 6 centimeters. We mark it from the two sides to the center. 6 centimeters and 6 centimeters. We are going to mark for the wedge that would go through, and we mark it 2.5 centimeters and 6 centimeters on one side. And on the other side 3 centimeters and 6 centimeters. And we stipple it. Now I show you how the hole is going to be, so that you can get an idea that it would be inclined for the wedge. I just drew that so that you can see that it will be inclined. We fix the inclination, and we make it a little bit inclined up to the middle more or less. And we also mark it to cut it with the cutter. This will be the wedge. We do the same on the other side and clean it with the jigsaw. And we do the same to this one, you see? There we do the first one straight or vertical and this other one for the inside or inclined side. And there we mark the dowel. We are going to make the dowel 2.5 because we had marked the box 2.6 centimeters. We make it a little bit looser so as not to have problems, because the wedge is the one that is going to be in charge. To place it, and to discount, I measure it and divide it in two. And that gives me the right center. I am going to mark to make an assembly. In the middle I mark it with the gauge, on both sides 4 centimeters, it would be 12 centimeters divided in 3. I also mark the thickness with the gauge. I only have to draw crosswise. The one in the front I took it from the sides, and the one in the back, from the middle. And marked it in the center, 12 centimeters, 2.5, also 2.5 at the tip, and 35 centimeters. I look for the ruler and mark the curve. I mark that way and take out the nails, and I check all the lines that match. Now let's see how to draw the angle of the wedge. We mark the center and the thickness of the crosspiece, which is 4.3, and there we mark the 2.5 and 3 centimeters. So we make the angle for the wedge, and we start to cut. We also cut the dowels, always leaving the line that we marked with the gauge. And we uncover. All this can also be cut by hand. I put the square on it so that I can cut it better, and then I continue cutting slowly. I cut the assembly first. It's better to cut this first. I clean it well. I leave the scribe line a little bit, and I always leave the biro line too. I always leave the lines. In any case, after checking if I have to make some small adjustments, I do it with the rasp. I mark the tenon with a circle of a diameter of about 5 centimeters to make it round at the ends, and to take the edge off. Going to pass the sanding roller over it. What I want to make you notice with my finger on the tip is that I do not touch it with the roller there, because we are going to put glue on it, and then we are going to polish where the two sides meet. And then I take advantage of that, and I sand the edge all around. Now I put a 1.5 centimeter milling cutter, and I pass it standing on the ends to remove the edge. Then it leaves me rounded all the same. You can also pass it with a router. We are going to pass it to the vertexes so they are not sharp. I place the saw at a depth of 4 millimeters, and I cut the center first. And little by little I cut the guide and widen the groove. It is the groove recess. That recess would be 1.2 centimeters, and I look for it. I will pass it to the two front legs first, and then to the back one, because the back one is narrower. I am going to pass the router with a quarter of a shank also, to be able to round it so that it enters in the tenon, then it is even and it looks nice. I also removed the corner with the rasp, because I can't reach the milling cutter in the corner. I pass the orbital in the tenon. It can also be sanded by hand, and then I sand everything, the eyelets, and the moldings. All this should be sanded by hand. Now we are going to put the glue, and I check how the glue is going to fit, as it is going to be quite tight and I might crack the wood. Then I pass a little bit the rasp. You have to pay attention that the widest part of the wedge has to be in front. And there you start to put the glue. I lift it up and put a wooden block on top to nail it. I clean with the chisel the rest of the glue and I fix the square. And I press it a little bit with a sergeant so that it gets closer, because it wants to rise a little bit. I pierce it with a 1 centimeter drill bit and I put a dowel. We always sand the tip of the dowel a little bit, and we try to make it reach the other nerve below the crosspiece. Clean it up and let it dry. Now we go back to the wedge. Because that wedge is a little low, it should be 2.5 and mark the angle. And don't forget to make it round. I start sanding the finish that we didn't get to with the sanding roller. I sand it a little with the orbital and then I sand it by hand. I'm going to start assembling. You see that the wedge is left for the front side, that is to say, the widest part of the wedge for the front. When assembling the crossbeam, you have to make sure that the inclination is like this. There you put the back part. Here we put the canvas. I will give you the exact length of the canvas, and you will have to add what would be extra for the eyelet. Well friends, the modern armchair is ready. It was very nice, very easy to make, and it is also very comfortable. If you like it, share it with your friends, give me like it. See you in the next video, bye bye.